Hi, and welcome back to art class. I'm doing my video from home today. Everything's fine, I'm great. I'm just doing the video from here. I think you'll like it. I'm going to share a few awesome things with you today. When I say go, you're going to get together the art supplies that you need today. All right, so just a minute, not yet. Today you will need a piece of paper and some crayons, but you only need a couple of crayons. All you need is your red, yellow, and blue. That's it. All right. So when I say go, get those 3 crayons and a piece of paper. Ready? Go. While you get your crayons out, I'm going to start up a video for you. We're going to talk about why those are the only 3 colors you ever need. Let's see. All right, here we go. If you're not done getting your crayons out, please still get your crayons out.
Hello class, today we are talking about primary colors. This is important so that you know why sometimes I only give you a few colors and not all of the colors in the rainbow. This right here is our color wheel, and I have marked out with little paint pots the 3 primary colors. From these 3 colors, red, yellow, and blue, we can mix any other color on this color wheel. So this is very much to show you why if I don't give you a green marker or a paint, it's because I expect that you mix it. Here's how you do that. We are going to put these colors right on the wheel so that you can see what I'm doing here. Now we have our primary colors. To mix a secondary color, like green, we take the colors that are on either side of it in the color wheel. So we add a little yellow, we add a little blue, and there we go, we have green. So we don't need to give you a green color to start with, you can always mix it. Now to make violet or purple, this color doesn't always show up well on camera, but we use a little bit of red and a little bit of blue. I'm not sure if that shows up quite. There we go. You should be able to see that now. It's violet.
Trust me, it was violet.
Then to make orange, again, we take the 2 primary colors on either side of it on the color wheel and we mix them. And there we go. Now we have all the colors of the color wheel, and we mix them from only 3 colors.
All right, let's get back into Zoom. There we go. All right. So please take your crayons and your piece of paper. We are going to make the color wheel again. I know some of you have done it before, but this is a good refresher. So make a yellow circle at the top. All right, a big one. And a little bit smaller yellow circle here. A little smaller yellow circle here. Doesn't need to be perfect or pretty. All right. Then take your red. Make a big red circle over here. Making a big one because this is one of the primary colors, just like this is. All right. Now, just below it, Make a smaller red circle. And just above it, on top of this yellow dot, put some red. Now, depending on which crayons you're using, which company crayons, you might need to put a little yellow on top of it so you can see it turn orange. Oops, my fingernail scraped it. There we go, there's orange. So then, what color do we have left of our primary colors? Blue. We haven't used blue yet, so I'm going to put a big blue circle right here. Now, if I put my blue with my yellow primary color, what color do I get? Give you a hint. Blue and yellow make green. So I'm going to put my blue on top of my yellow and see how it's turning green. Please follow along and do this as well. All right. Now, I haven't put blue and red together to get a color yet, right? So I'm going to put my blue on top of my red. And the color that I get, technically the correct name for this color is violet, although sometimes I'll call it purple. Violet is the color that happens right between red and blue. It's actually my favorite color. Kind of like the color of my hair. All right, so that's our color wheel. So if we're working in crayon, you know that that's the green you can get, that's the orange you can get, and that's the violet you can get if you start with just those three colors. Oops, that's two yellows. Where'd my blue go? Just these three colors give you all of these, and then, you know, some more in between. So that's why sometimes I only give you three colors. Now, I want to show you what I did with some crayons. You know how I say there's no such thing as a broken crayon? They all work just fine. Well, if you see up here, you can see what I've been up to. I took some crayons that were super, super little and tiny, and I wanted, they were just like really too small to do anything with. I used a mold and I melted them down to make new crayons out of them. So please listen very carefully. I need you to promise you will not try to mix your own crayons. You will not try to heat anything up and make new crayons. All right, do not do this. I'm going to show you what I did. Please do not try to do this on your own. All right. So I have a very, very special thing right here. I'm going to call it my color pot. And it lets me mix crayons together to make new crayons. So for example, here is a mold that I put little bits of crayon in and created new crayons out of them. Let's see what color they are. Okay, that's made from a couple of different colored crayons. And I'll show you what it looks like. Let's see what colors these look like. Okay, because that's not a normal color. That does not come out of the Crayola box. I would call this color turquoise. Sometimes colors have more than one color. We call it blue-green or a bright turquoise. That's this color right here. There's a couple different colors on here, so let's see what color this is. No, just a little bit different. It's just a little bit more yellow. And let's see. So I made this one. This one I made from a whole bunch of white, some red, and then some green. And it didn't all mix together. Ooh, it's a different color green. This is kind of more like a green you would find on a plant, right? Whereas this is more like a green you would find in the sky. Or I'm sorry, a blue-green you'd find in the sky. Let's see. Ooh, that's a pretty color. Kind of looks like I could make a piece of fruit out of that color, doesn't it? The reason that I made these was so that you could see that there's other colors that are really useful to color with, but you have to make them on your own. We usually make them by blending our crayons, right? We can blend our crayons to make a lot of different colors. Right here, I'm making a whole different color just by putting white over it. Here, I just made a different color by putting all the crayons together. So let's see. And I also made this one. Ooh, it's kind of like the sky. Let's see if these show up on camera. It's super light. It's like a light green blue. I don't know if it's showing up on camera. But you can see right here, one that didn't mix quite right. Can you tell? Here, hold on. Can you tell what color crayons I put together? You can see some of it right there. My thumb is. Some blue. You can see some yellow on the top. So I put blue and yellow and a whole bunch of white together, and I made this mess. Let's see. Ooh, that's a bright green. So I can get kind of three colors out of this one: a really light yellow, a green, and a green yellow. So I thought you might think those were kind of fun to see, because even when we have super teeny tiny pieces of crayon, I don't throw them out because I know they're still usable. I can make new crayons for you. You do not need to do it. I will do it. Plus, it's kind of fun to use different colors. So you might be saying, Ms. Cordova, what's going on up here? That is my color pot. Please do not ever try to make one on your own. Ooh, here's this one. I forgot about this one. Ooh, pretty. Please do not try to make one on your own. I'm doing this so you don't have to. I put some white in there. What other colors do you think I put in there? I put some yellow. And I put some red, little bits of red. And you can see in it those different colors, right? You can see where the white is. You can see the yellow. And you can see how they're mixing together to make kind of like a peach and pink. White will make a color lighter. So normally this would be orange, but because I used white, I'm going to call it actually a peach. Peach is like a light orange, maybe like a pink orange. You see how it's mixing together now? Let's make a crayon together. Let's see if I've got a mold that's clean enough. Now this one's got a little yellow in it, but that's okay. So I'm carefully again, please don't try this on your own, because as you can see, even Ms. Cordova made a mess, but that's okay. I've got my messy mat down. So I just got a whole bunch of crayon all over. Again, another reason to not do this on your own. Even I made a mess. So I'll let that cool, because right now this is all very hot. I would not want to touch that. But you can see I've still got a little bit of those colors in there. So what would happen if I put another color in there? What would happen if I put, let me see, where's my little bits of crayon? What happens if I put more red in? You see what's happening there? Because red is such a strong color, it's overtaking the peach. So I'm going to put, so you can kind of see how I'm mixing it up. Now red with some white in it. See this color red that I have here? This little chunk? It's pretty dark red. But I'm putting it in there. Putting actually two in there. Let's see what happens. And you can literally watch it start to mix. See how it looks a lot different where the crayon's been? That's turning a lot darker red now. Still has some yellow and some white in it, but it's all mixing together. Okay, I paused the recording for a moment while I let it finish melting. You can see the color that that is now, right? It's a very bright, we call it a blue red. It's more towards blue than orange, right? So that's a pretty cool color. Let's see. Oopsies. Oops, those are still wet. Let's see. Well, I could put it in here. I think it could handle being in there. Let's see if I can do it without making a mess this time. No promises. You know what I think I'm going to do? Let's see if I can just put it down a bit in here. All right. So here's the first crayon color we made. You can see how it's a lot more orange. And then the color we just made is right in the middle there, over here. Now, with what we have right now, this bright red color, what happens if I get my bits of blue though? Just a moment. All right, I'm actually going to put some of my violet, my purple, in here so you can see what happens. You see how that violet is mixing in there? Now if I take a really rich colored blue, put that in there too, now what's going to happen? I'm putting violet and blue into a red. Well, because blue and red are the colors used to make violet, I'm just going to be making an intense kind of violet color, blue violet probably. Now there was yellow in here, so I've got blue and yellow. Why isn't it making green? There's just a little bit of the yellow left. Mostly now what I have in here is my blue and my red. Okay, see how that color changed so quickly? Now, let's see. So you can see it a little bit better. I'm going to put some white in there so you can see the colors. So I know it's really hard to see on screen. It's kind of pretty, isn't it? I just kind of want to be able to show you the color without it being too dark for the camera. All right. Actually gonna put a little bit more white in there. And while those melt, oops, there's a little tip that broke off of the crayon. This is a red violet. I'm gonna put that in there too. Let's see what happens. Oops, there's another blue. Let's just put it all in there because they're all pretty similar. Now we're going to talk about analogous colors. What are analogous? Well, let me get out my color wheel again. We'll keep making some crayons. I just need that to melt a little, so we're going to talk about these. Analogous colors. It sounds like a really big, important word. It sounds really hard. But it's really not. All it means is colors that are next to each other on the rainbow. That's all. Sounds like it's much more complex, doesn't it? Analogous colors. But no, that's all it means. So blue, green, and yellow are analogous. Green, blue, and violet are analogous. Red, violet, and blue are analogous. Any colors like that are analogous. So remember, we've got a couple of words we learned today. Primary, this means the colors you can't mix from anything. Primary colors are yellow, red, and blue. Now, a word for colors that you can make from those is secondary colors, too. Second, green, orange, and violet, right? So how can a color be a primary color and an analogous color? Analogous is something that any color can be, but if I ask you to choose analogous colors and you choose green and red and violet, okay, so let's put them on here. Green and red and violet. Are those analogous colors? Nope, because see how they're not next to each other on the color wheel? So if I chose these colors, and I was told to choose analogous, that would be correct. All right. It's just describing the colors and their relationships to each other. Now there's one other thing we need to learn. Let's see. Where's my red? Here we go. So if I say choose complementary colors, it's probably what you'll hear from me the most. Complementary colors are colors that are exactly across from each other on the color wheel. See how there's two colors here and two colors here? It's an even number. That means these are directly across from each other. Now, red and green are complementary. What does that mean? Well, it means when you put them next to each other, they make each other look brighter, all right? It really stands out. Whereas red and orange, well, it looks pretty, but it doesn't stand out as much as this stands out, right? This is much more dominating. Ooh, let's go back to my crayons. Did they melt yet? Can you see that? You see what's happening there? Just a minute, we'll finish mixing it and then we'll pour it into a mold, okay? Maybe I'll pour it in like that. It'd be kind of pretty. Let's see, where can I put it? Well, this one had some blue, and since there was blue in here, it's not going to hurt it if I put it in there. Let's see what happens. Ready? Oh, what a mess again. You can see why I say don't do this on your own. Besides it being hot, I also make an absolute mess. Now this crayon over here that I spilled on my messy mat, I'll be able to kind of peel that up and put that into another crayon. So you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to very carefully go put this in my freezer so that it can quickly harden and I can show it to you more quickly. So just a moment. I also made this crayon last night. It was kind of an accident. I had another crayon fall into the mold. But I don't know if you can quite see. It's got some purple and some blue. It's actually really, really, really dark violet and different colors of dark violet. And then I put some of my special glittery stuff in it. Let's see if you can see it. I don't know if you can see that glitter on camera, but this one actually glitters a little bit. Oh, you know what? There's that slight mess that I made when I was pouring the last one. Just put that back in there. Now what happens if I have purple or violet and I put some orange in it? Oops. What color is that going to make? Kind of depends exactly on which colors they are, how much of each color it has in it. Just a moment. Again, please don't do this on your own. What is that going to make? Purple and orange. Now, purple and orange look really pretty together, but what happens if you mix them together? Well, guys, this is what happens. You kind of get mud. Do you know why? Well, let's look at our color wheel. So here's orange, right? Here's violet. Because this is a secondary color and this is a secondary color, if I mix them together, I'm going to get mud. I'm going to get just kind of a brownish color. Actually, that's one reason I never give you guys brown, is you can always mix brown. Just kind of put all the colors together. This is not a pretty color. I mean, like, what do you ever want to draw that's that color? It's not really purple. It's not really orange. It's kind of a weird gray. Yeah, I'm going to put it into this mold. I mean, there's nothing pretty about that color. It's like, I don't even know. Once we start using watercolors, the reason I'm showing you this is because it's really easy. If you don't do the right thing with watercolors, you can make mud. You can turn a really pretty painting into something really gross by putting the wrong colors together. All right. Now that I've got mud, what would happen if I put bright green in there? What happens if I put bright green into mud? Well, anything that's kind of like a gray or a light brown, when you put it with another color, so here's the color I started with, it's going to mute it. Muting just means it's going to make it a little duller, a little less bright, okay? And sometimes that's what you want, because there isn't much in the world that is this bright of a green, right? That's a pretty bright green. But there's things in the world that are this color green. I made that by kind of toning down how bright it was. So that's what's happening here now. Now, if I wanted to make my green lighter, I could add yellow. I'm gonna make it a brighter, lighter, limey green. By the way, the only reason I'm able to keep going between all these colors and mixing them together is because crayons have so much color in them that whatever residue I have from a little bit of the color before just kind of gets swallowed up in it. So don't think that you can do this with your paints. You will not be able to do what I'm doing with watercolors. It does not work the same way. It's a whole different medium. It's a whole different material, okay? There's a little light blue you can toss in there too. Let's get these little scraps up off so they're not all over my floor. All right, so I hope we learned that today. So let's just go back to our paper. I'm actually going to start with a new one because I drew all over mine. Well, those things over there are, you know what? I'm just going to put that in there too. There's a little bit blue. You can put that in there. All right. I think that's it for the crumbles at the moment. I'll let you watch those as they mix. So let's just go over one other thing. You're going to hear me talk about cool colors and warm colors. So get your whole box of crayons out right now. Whatever crayons you've got, right? So I just kind of got a weird pile here. Just going to get them all out. Now, take your yellow. On the left side of your paper, make some wavy lines. Okay, so make a dot, make a wavy line up and back down. Make a couple of those. All right, once you have that, color it in a little bit. Doesn't have to be perfect. We just want to cover that space pretty good. All right. Now pick up your red. Kind of go over the outside of each piece on one side. Okay. Now kind of blend it in a little bit. Now lightly blend it. All right. What does it look like? Kind of look like fire? That's what it's supposed to be. So now you can take your orange, kind of color in between the red and the yellow. This is just going to help blend it nicely. I don't need to use orange, but it kind of helps give it a little bit better blend than what I can do very quickly. All right. These are warm colors. Think of what colors do you see outside in plants and stuff when it's hot out, when it's summer. Well, you see bright colored things, right? In winter, do you see anything colored like this? You don't see any flowers or anything coming out of the ground that are bright yellow and red and orange, right? Those are summer colors. So now get your blue and your green and your violet. Okay. So take your green and let's go like this. make an upside down V, and then fill it in. See how this is like a V right here? And below that, I'm going to put a W. And to each side, I'm going to put another V. Some of you probably know what I'm doing. And then below that, put another W. And then to the side, put another W and another W. So you've got 3 W's on the bottom. Now you can color in those W's a little bit. Right? Now I'm going to attach my W's. What do we got? What does this look like? I'm going to add a little to it so it looks a little bit more like what I want it to look like. It's kind of like a tree, isn't it? So take your blue, and you can go over your tree. Now, do you see trees that look like this in winter? Yeah, you see the color blue and you see the color green a little bit in some places outside in winter. Okay. Now here comes the tricky part. I have my, where'd it go? I have my red violet and my blue violet. Violet can be cool or warm. When it's a blue violet, it's a cool color. See how it looks, right? And it kind of makes those colors stand out and pop a little bit. And I color on one side of each W. Really helps make it stand out. Well, I also have a red violet. So when the violet's closer to red, see how it kind of blends in with the red? It's another reason violet can be my favorite color. So it can be warm or cool. And you can have your own favorite color. Yours doesn't need to be what mine is. I'm just telling you why that's my favorite color. It can go either way. So now that you've done that, I suggest you take your blue violet, if you have that. If you don't have a blue violet, that's okay. Just use whatever purple you have, right? Doesn't matter, just pretend. And I'm gonna use that to make my little tree trunk under there. Oops. I was coloring good and hard and my crayon got so excited. It is now in half. But is my crayon broken? No, my crayon is not broken. Why is it not broken? No such thing as a broken crayon. Still works just fine. Oops. So now that I've done that, I'm going to write under each of these. So this is my warm colors, my set of warm colors. Oh, wow. Let's pretend that didn't happen. Warm. There we go. I almost forgot my R. I had wham. And then over here, I have, oh, let's see if I can use my big funny crayon that I made. Over here, I have my cool colors. Oops, I got paper under there. C-O-O-L. Cool. So now, hopefully that makes sense. So if I said choose your warm colors, you could choose these. but usually when people say warm, they mean like these or these. Yellow is the other color that can also be cool or warm. But for the most part, let's not worry about it. Let's consider it warm. I hope you've enjoyed this today. When we all get back together, I will be able to show you my crayons and whatever other ones I made. The reason that I'm doing this isn't because I like to kill crayons. It's just because I like to try and make use of any other crayons that are just too little for us to use otherwise. Oh, that's right. It's in the fridge. Just a moment. Ooh, that's cold. Can you hear my Crocs squeaking on the floor? So let's see these crayons that we made. Oh, it's really cold. Wow. Here we go. All right, remember this one I made that I put a little dot on the inside? This would be a warm color. Look at that. It's really pretty color. I'll call it peach or a warm yellow. There's a little bit more of it. And then we made this one. Remember when I made this mess over here? Ooh. Can you see how it has swirls in it? Here's the yellow that I made. Ooh, I picked up a little bit of the green from the mold that color I used before. Now see, this yellow is different from this one a little bit. A little bit of a cooler yellow, but nonetheless it's yellow. And then there's one last one, this very red-violet color. Oh, it's actually a lot more red than I expected. I would actually call it kind of like a bright magenta, but nonetheless, it's a warm color, so I'm going to put it over here. See how it works in there? All right. I'm just going to add in here some of the other crayons that I made so you can see what color they are and how they all work together. You are welcome to work on your own tree or to turn your paper over or get another piece of paper and practice drawing things with either just your cool colors or just your warm colors. You could draw yourself, you could draw your family, draw anything you want. Yourself as a superhero flying through the sky. If you don't know what to do, I suggest you close your eyes with a piece of paper in front of you. Take your yellow and make a couple scribbles. So I've got my eyes closed. So there's one scribble, there's two scribbles, there's 3, 4, 5. You know what I'm going to do now? I'm going to take my orange. I'm going to look at these, and right next to each line, I'm going to color a little bit of orange. And you know what's going to happen? Your eyes will start to think that you're looking at a flower. See that? Now I'm going to take the red, and anywhere in there that's white, I'm going to put the red. Now, why is this working? It's because there's a certain part of your brain that chooses to see pictures where there's just kind of random information. It's part of your imagination. See how that starts to look like a flower? I'm going to clean up my lines a little bit, make them a little bit smoother. Go back in there. Maybe I'll use this one. And shade between the colors. Now that's the real trick here, is to blend the colors. Look at, I've got a flower out of a scribble. There you go. Have fun.